Here I've got the Presonus Audiobox USB 96 audio interface. An audio interface is generally going to upgrade the quality of sound that's coming from your computer or your laptop. It's a lot better than using that old headphone jack, and it gives you options for recording music. Even if you're not going to go into recording music, I'm going to show you how to register this product, how to download the software that comes with it, how to get it up and running with your computer, and then I've also got some cables and gear that I would recommend that you purchase so that you can get the most out of this machine. My name's Chris Green. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let's get jumping into the Presonus Audiobox USB 96. First, let's just do an overview of the audio interface to see what we're working with here. On the front, we have two input jacks. With these input jacks, you can plug in either a microphone or an instrument cable to either one. So if you want to record a singer-songwriter, you could plug into channel 1 right here. You could plug a microphone, and then you can plug their guitar into this one. Or if you've got their guitar mic'd up, you can put the guitar microphone here and the singer's microphone here. These jacks that they have on the front will accept either a microphone or an instrument cable. Then you have your 48 volt phantom power switch. The 48 volt phantom power switch is just for if you're using a condenser microphone or possibly a DI box that needs to have juice in it. Sometimes microphones used to have batteries in them, which is kind of weird to think about. But the 48 volt phantom switch, it's not generally going to break any of your instruments if you have it turned on, but you only want to be using it if you're using a condenser microphone. Just a rule of thumb. Now on the front where it says 1 and 2, these two knobs right here are our gain knobs or our trim pots. We'll use those later on in this video. I'll show you how to adjust the level of the microphones or instruments that you're recording with over here. An interesting one we're going to get back to in just a little while is called the mixer. We are mixing between the inputs and the playback. What does that mean? So in order to avoid what's called latency or delay, if you're playing your guitar and in your headphones, you're hearing like there's a delay setting. It's like you strum something and then it goes da-da. If you don't want to hear any of the delay, you turn this mixer knob all the way to the left where it says input. That'll give you the least amount of latency. That's basically you're just listening to it as it comes in. But in order for you to hear what's coming out of your computer, you need to have it turned all the way to the right where it says playback. Okay, this will give you a lot of latency. But basically, whenever you're recording, you want to switch this thing to inputs, and then when you're mixing, you can switch it to playback. It can be a little finicky. You probably want to set it in the middle somewhere if you're trying to do a little bit of both, but that one you need to have access to as much as possible. On the top, we have our headphone output volume. So when we plug in our headphones, this is where we can adjust the volume going to our headphones. And then you have your main speaker output. So if you're using monitors, studio monitors, you can adjust the volume there. On the back panel, of course, we have our USB jack right here. It'll accept just normal USB cables, ones that you find like on a printer. It should have come with your audio interface as well. And then we have our speaker outputs right here, 1 and 2. Even if you're just using one speaker, like in a mono setting, you can plug in right here using 1/4-inch cables, okay? Very important. I'll show you some of those in just a minute. The MIDI jacks on the back aren't used frequently. A lot of times I'm using my USB MIDI cable you might have seen on my videos. But if you have some MIDI cables and you want to plug in your keyboards, this would be the place to do it. Last but not least, we have the headphone jack on the back. So if you want to plug in your headphones, this is the place to do it. I highly recommend you get a headphone extension cable. When you get your audio interface, you're pretty much just going to have this USB cable so you can plug it into your computer. Here's some extra things that you might want to consider that might make your life a little bit easier when you're going to record or listen to music. The first thing is a giant headphone extension cable. So this one is from Roland. It essentially has a 1/4-inch male side that will plug into the audio interface on the back, wherever it says headphones. Plug it in here. And then this is a good like 16-foot headphone extension cable. So as you can see on the back, we have a female 1/4-inch, and then these little buggers, you're going to want to have as many of these as possible. This is a 1/4-inch to an 1/8-inch adapter. And specifically it's a TRS, which means it has a tip, a ring, and a sleeve. You can see it's divided with that black line there. Get yourself a lot of these because if you lose these, you won't be able to plug in your headphones with something like this. But this goes into my headphone extension cable. And then I can plug my headphones into this, and I've got plenty of slack. So if I'm recording like in this room, if I want to go record drums, I don't have to take my audio interface with me. I've got enough slack in my headphone extension cable, I can just use it that way. Now, speaking of headphones, you're probably going to be looking for something like this, which are a closed back pair of headphones. These are good for when you're recording, to keep stuff from leaving the headphones. You don't want to have bleed, the sound of the click coming through your microphone. These have an 1/8 inch tip to them. So like I said, they plug into your headphone extension cable. I want to recommend that you check out these in-ears. These are from Shure. I've been using these for quite a while, especially on these YouTube videos. These in-ear monitors fit inside of your ear. They do have a lot of isolation, so you don't have to worry about the click coming through. But what you can do is with these, I like to just run them down the back of my shirt. It comes out the back of my shirt and I can plug into this headphone extension cable. Just makes it a lot cleaner, and you don't have to worry about the cable bumping into your microphone while you're recording. In-ear monitors are a great way to go. If you're a musician, especially somebody performing live, check out in-ear monitors if you can. Other than the headphone jack, you have this speaker output 1 and 2. So from those, what you want to go into are a pair of studio monitors. So these are KRK Rocket 5s. I've had these things for like 10 years. If you're looking at getting a new pair, you can check out Presonus. They also make studio monitors nowadays. But if I am going to use studio monitors, I'll plug these in either with the 1/4 inch balanced input right here, or with the microphone input that it has on the back. These things are chunky and heavy. And as you can see in the back, I've got speaker stands for these. Most of the time I am using my headphones in this situation. It makes recording videos a lot easier on YouTube. But if you're looking for studio monitors, check out Presonus. They do have studio monitors available. Anything larger than a 5-inch speaker is going to be good for starting out. If you're just listening to music and you're not really getting into mixing and hi-fi kind of stuff, just try to keep your budget under $500. There's plenty of those options available. And then of course, if you're looking to record, you'll definitely need some cables. So here's the thing you might want to learn. This is a XLR or microphone cable. You can see in the middle, there are 3 pins sticking out. These will plug into the front of your interface, just like that. So this is a microphone cable that could go to a microphone where I'm recording vocals. This is an instrument or a guitar cable. It'll plug into either channel as well. So in this situation, I have a microphone cable and then I have a guitar cable. And of course, because these are combo jacks, I can swap them around. I can put a microphone in channel 2 and a guitar in channel 1 as well. So here's the process to get your audio interface up and running with your computer. I'm going to start with the MacBook, but the process with the Windows computer is going to be very similar. First, we need to take our USB cable and plug it into our laptop. If you're familiar with MacBooks, you know that MacBooks are using USB-C or Thunderbolt ports, so we need some sort of adapter. You can of course use the Apple dongle for going from USB-C to USB type A. This one I found on Amazon. Looks like it is a Kensington, and it has a lot of ports on it. You can plug your computer's power in this side. We have HDMI, and then we have more USB and SD card slots on this. This one is a little more rigid, and it just plugs into the side of your MacBook. You do have to have 2 of the ports available with that. This one is an Audiobox. You don't need to worry too much whether it's Apple official or not, because this USB audio interface, it doesn't really require that much transfer speeds. We don't need to have USB-C or Thunderbolt. Any sort of USB type A port will do. So I've got it plugged into my dongle. Now I'm just going to plug it into my MacBook. Once I've got it plugged into my MacBook, I'm going to open up my system preferences. I'm going to go to where it says sound. Under sound, now you've got an option for your inputs and outputs. You can see internal microphone, audio USB 96, and then mine says black hole 2 channel, but make sure you have Audiobox USB 96 selected for your input. And then also on your output, you want to select Audiobox USB 96. Now, if you're just looking to use your audio interface to play back music, or if you're using video editing software like Final Cut Pro, this is pretty much all you need to do other than plug in your speakers to the back of the device. So you want to plug in your speakers, make sure you've gone into System Preferences and select Audiobox USB 96, and you're good to go. Everyone else, if you're looking to record music and use Studio One, let's move further in the process of registering and downloading the software. With all Presonus products, you're going to want to have a My Presonus account. So go to connect.presonus.com to get started. If you don't already have an account, go through the process to create an account, and then once you've logged in, you'll be able to register your device. As you can see on my Presonus account, I've been using Studio One for quite a while, got a lot of the products. I'm not being sponsored by Presonus Studio One. I don't work for Studio One or Presonus, but just so you know, this is the place where you need to go to make sure you've registered all your products. Anytime you get software or hardware from Presonus, go ahead and register it because you never know when you're going to want to download that software again. At the top left of the page for your products, there should be a plus button where you can register a new device. I've got mine taped over right here, but on the underbelly or the bottom of your audio interface, there's going to be a serial number. You're going to want to enter that serial number and put in the purchase date for your audio interface so that it is registered. Once you've entered the serial number for your audio interface, that will unlock the software that comes with the device. Now, the Audiobox 96 usually comes with the Studio One Artist version. Now we need to talk about the different forms of software. So Presonus offer 3 options, well really 4. The first one is their Prime. Studio One Prime is a free version where you can kind of get your toes wet. There are a lot of limitations. You don't get as many plugins and you can't have as long of a session. I think it's capped out at about 5 minutes. Could be wrong on that, but the artist version is like what comes with your audio interface. So you need to make use of the artist version for sure. The artist version is going to have all of the basics, and for most people, it's going to have everything that you need. The professional version is more expensive, but you get a lot more plugins and features with Studio One Professional. So if you're somebody that's regularly recording music, even as a hobby, I highly recommend checking out the professional version or at least the artist version. Studio One Plus is a subscription plan from Presonus. This might make sense to you with your budget. If you just want to check out the full amount of features from Presonus, you can do a monthly subscription plan that you can end at any point. So if you just want to be on it for a month or 2 months, you can cancel at any time. As you're registering your product, Presonus is going to push Studio One Plus, but you don't have to accept their offers. You can go with the artist version, which comes with your Audiobox 96. Like I said, the artist version, if you're doing podcasts, any sort of simple editing, the artist version is going to be plenty sufficient, and it came with your audio interface, so might as well use it. Now on a Mac, once you've downloaded the installer, it's going to want you to drag and drop it over to your applications folder. Once it's in your applications folder, it's going to want to open Presonus Studio One. Now the first time Presonus Studio One opens, it's going to be scanning for a lot of plugins. If you've previously purchased things like UAD plugins or Waves, third-party plugins, it's going to take quite a while for it to scan through your system. If you're brand new to recording and you don't know what any of that stuff means, it probably booted up Studio One very quickly and you're ready to go. It's not going to scan your plugins every single time you open up the software, so don't worry if this initial time takes a lot longer than normal. At the top left of Presonus Studio One, once it's open, you can go to Studio One Activations. In the Activations tab, if you've logged into your Presonus account, it should have your registered audio interface available with Studio One Artist. So from the drop-down menu for My Product Key, make sure you have your artist version selected, and then it will reboot the software. So now you've got Presonus Studio One Artist. Mine's a little bit confusing because I'm using Studio One version 6 Professional, generally on this YouTube channel, but I am, for the sake of this video, just running Studio One Artist so that you can see what the process and what it looks like. For all intents and purposes, your audio interface is ready to go, but I do want to give you a glimpse at your first time opening Studio One, and let's get some microphones plugged into this audio interface so you can see what it's like recording guitars, vocals, and more stuff like that. So here on this boom stand, I have a Shure SM57, and SM57 is what I would call timeless gear. This is a microphone that for decades now, year after year, it sells hundreds, thousands of microphones just like this. It's built like a tank, and some of the most professional studios out there are using this microphone when they're recording snare drum or they're recording guitar amps. The SM57 is one that's been around forever. So if you've not gotten a microphone yet, check out the SM57. You can get these things for under $100 and it can record all sorts of different things. This is a dynamic microphone. So on the back, we have a very familiar 3-pin setup. So I'm gonna grab my microphone cable. I'm gonna plug this into channel 1 while it's on this here boom stand. So here I've got the male end of the microphone cable. I'm gonna plug it into channel 1. Now the Shure SM57 is a dynamic microphone. It does not need phantom power. Later in the video, we'll plug in this Rode NT2A. This is a condenser microphone that does need phantom power. I'll show you how that works in just a minute. Now would be the time as well to plug in your headphones if you're looking to record. I'll go ahead and use these are Beyerdynamic DT770 Pros. Any sort of headphones you've got, now would be the time to plug it into your audio interface. All right, once you've got Studio One up and running, this is your home screen. At the bottom of the screen where it says under setup, you're gonna see something that might say built-in output. We need to change this. So click where it says built-in output and go to playback device. Make sure you have Audiobox USB 96 selected, both for your playback and for your recording device. You can click OK. Now that's ready, I click New at the top left. We'll call this one 96. It's the name of the song, and then you want to select where are you going to keep all of your files for this project. So it might be your downloads folder, could be a documents folder like this one. I think it's going to default when you install Studio One. They're going to create a Studio One folder inside your documents folder. That'll be fine for now. Then just click OK. Now it's opening up a brand new session in Presonus Studio One. If you're new to recording, I will cover the basics in this video, but I do have more videos on my channel, much longer videos specifically on recording your first song in Studio One. So be sure to check those out after this video concludes. First thing I'm going to do is on the top left, I'm going to click this plus button for add tracks. Let's add a track. I'm going to call it vocal. I want one vocal track. I'm going to color this one blue. I'm going to use a mono track. So mono meaning I'm only recording one channel at a time. If you are wanting to record 2 microphones on your guitar amp or 2 microphones on your acoustic guitar or drums, you would select stereo track, and that would of course be inputs 1 and 2 on your audio interface. This is just a mono input. I'm gonna go with input 1 and click OK. Now, if you didn't have input 1 available, at the top of the screen, go to Song Setup, and then you have Audio Input and Output. Here we have input 1 and 2, which is a stereo setting, and then we have input 1 going to channel 1, input 2 going to channel 2. Make sure you have those available. If you don't, you can add more channels. You can add mono channels, rename these if you want, and then your output should be 1 and 2 as well. So now I've got a vocal track, and I'm gonna arm this thing for recording. So as soon as I click this record enable button, you can see I've got a signal coming in on the screen. It's a green signal, meaning I'm getting a good signal of me just talking into the microphone. The blue speaker icon next to record enable, this is the software monitoring. So you may not want to use this. If I put these headphones on and I've got software monitoring enabled, I might hear 2 of myself. So a lot of times I just turn this off. At the bottom of the screen, you have a mix tab. Go ahead and click that. And on the left side of the screen, you want to click this button for show inputs. When I show inputs, now you can see a meter at the bottom of the screen with more detail. This, as I'm talking into the microphone, is telling me that right now I'm getting around -24 on the input signal. I'm gonna go to the first channel on the audio interface where it says 1, okay? This is now the knob, the trim pot for channel 1. And I'm gonna turn this up. And notice as I'm turning it up, you're gonna see more and more of a signal coming in. Test 1, 2, test 1, 2. Now the red light is telling me I've clipped. You don't want to clip. So I'm gonna turn this gain knob down as I'm talking. And what I wanna aim for is generally between -12 and -24 on the metering. This may not be very satisfying because you like seeing the meter being super full, but for recording's sake, you're gonna have a lot cleaner recordings if you keep it within this range, okay? So now that Shure SM57 is set up, it's got a proper amount of gain, I can put my headphones on and hear exactly what the audio interface is hearing. So here in my headphones, back on the front panel of the Audiobox 96, this is where we make use of the mixer knob. So on the mixer knob, right now I've got it all the way to the left, pointed at input. As I turn it to the right, I'm gonna hear less and less of the microphone till now I don't hear anything. That's because I don't have software monitoring enabled. So I turn it to the left. If you're not hearing any of the input on your Audiobox 96, go to the mixer knob, turn it all the way to the left to where it says inputs. Then you can also adjust the volume of your headphone output. Make sure that you're hearing plenty of a signal. So that's my SM57 set up. I can record vocals, I can sing into this at the bottom of Studio One. If I click the record button, this is me talking into a Shure SM57. Hello everyone, please hit the subscribe button for more videos just like this. As soon as I hit the spacebar, I'm done. As you can see, I've got an audio file now on Studio One, so I can export this if I want, or I can get to mixing. Let's just show you one more situation. I'm gonna click the plus button again, and let's add a track and call this one guitar. I want one guitar channel. I want this one to be yellow, and I'm gonna use input 2 for this one. So this is my Telecaster. I'm gonna plug this into channel 2 of my interface. So one end's plugged into my guitar, the other end looks like this. I'm gonna plug it into channel 2. As soon as I do, I can check my signal. This is probably gonna be out of tune. Let's just say that I wanna record on top of that vocal. I need to turn off the record enable for vocal. Now I need to turn on record enable for guitar. I turn off the speaker icon because I don't wanna hear it from the software. And as you can see, I'm getting a healthy signal on the guitar. So let's go back to the beginning of the song, clicking this little arrow down here. And if I hit record, I can record on top of what I recorded earlier. Now, if you're wanting to monitor what's going on, I can take that mixer knob again and turn it up about halfway. And if it's at the halfway point, I should be able to hear what's happening on the computer, and I should be able to hear what I'm playing at the same time. So let's go back and hit play. This is me talking into a Shure SM57. Hello everyone, please hit the subscribe button for more videos just like this. All right, so now I've got a condenser microphone plugged into the same channel I had the SM57 plugged into. And if I go back and I create a new track and call it Condenser Talk, I want this one to be red, input 1, and hit OK. If I go to record this one, now we're seeing there's no signal. I haven't touched the gain knob at all. In fact, the gain knob is way higher than 50%, and we don't see anything happening on the Studio One program. Well, that's because this condenser microphone needs that 48 volt phantom power. So make sure you turn on phantom power. As soon as I do, you see a big spike in the audio because now essentially we're giving power to this microphone, and I can turn down this microphone because it has a lot more sensitivity than the Shure SM57. So here's a little bit of the condenser microphone. I'll record some of that. Hey everyone, welcome to YouTube and stuff. And as you can see on screen, we're getting a lot more signal with a lot less gain from the condenser microphone. So if you're not sure what microphones to look at, you can check out the NT2A. It's a rather affordable condenser microphone that's been around for a while. You also have the SM57, and then also there's just using a guitar cable going straight into your interface. From here, you would do things like you would mix your audio, you'd make sure it's balanced correctly, and so forth. But that's all for the Audiobox USB 96 device. Like I said, please check out these other videos on my channel on how to record and mix music in Presonus Studio One. Well, thank you so much for watching, and good luck to all your recording with the Audiobox 96. See ya.